just bought a house. I own a home. This is my home. Oh gosh.
Hey guys, welcome back. Here again. We're looking at something a little bit more positive. It's the success story of some of these young guys getting into the housing ladder and actually being a success story. You know, it's difficult at these times how to see people, what they're doing, how they're doing it, and it's nice to see some examples. So let's have a look and let's see how they did it.
I bought my first property at 22 years old. Here's how. I grew up in southeast London but gradually moved to the outskirts. I saved up £15,000 and did some research as to where my money would take me. I ended up in Kent. My rationale? At the time there were many adults at the peak of their careers moving to Kent, so I tried to follow the trend. Things that helped. From 16 I consistently had a job, in college, through and after university. At the time I was also studying to be a mortgage advisor, which gave me exposure to the industry. I bought in a cheaper area, way further than most people would consider. 5 properties later, I have a passion for teaching other people about property, a platform that educates tens of thousands of people, and numerous television credits. And it's all because...
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. I mean, the thing is, this is just a story that we're going to see constantly, which is, even though people are young, you have to simply sacrifice that. That is just it. You know, this guy's been working since he was 16 at Sainsbury's. Not a glamorous job by any means, not a high-paying job either, but he was able to, with doing his research, looking at the job opportunities, he's got a little bit more knowledge than most. Trying to be a mortgage advisor, that's fine, but you know, you still have to save that money, still save £15,000, and that is definitely something to get you on the housing ladder. So, well done, man, amazing.
This is so funny because I won't lie, it's not for the weak. It's not for the weak, but it's why I'm so heavy on anyone I know that's living at home and their goal is like home ownership. I'm like, baby, let's go. It is hard, but it's very doable. Like at some point my rent and bills were coming up to 2k a month, and without fail I will find a way to put a 1k into my savings. And when I started earning more, I'll try and keep my lifestyle the same as much as I can and then double up. Literally like trying to put 2k into my savings. So it's very doable. I think a lot of people that live at home sadly just fall into the trap of they think they've got so much disposable income, because even if you give your mum some small money for rent, you top up some things, it's not going to equate to how much you could be spending on rent and bills. So I don't know what to tell you, but it's not for the weak.
I know that it used to be a thing back when I was, in uni when I was 18, that people were moving out, going to their uni dorms and trying to buy houses as fast as possible and be independent. Obviously now with the economy, dorms are expensive, living out is expensive, getting your own apartment is expensive. Now we've gone back the other way where living at home with your parents is cool now. Nobody cares. Just because the economy is that bad that nobody blames you for living at home with your parents. Personally, within our Asian culture, never been an issue. In fact, our parents don't want us to move out. But I was renting with my wife at that time when we were trying to save up a house, and it is really, really difficult. I think we could have saved so much more if we were staying at home, but sadly that wasn't an option for us at the time. And for a lot of people, it's not an option. You have to continue paying your rent while you're saving up for a mortgage, and it is truly difficult. But it shows if you're living at home and you do have that disposable income, you've got a huge boon over a lot of people that have to pay their rent. So it's a key lesson to take away, but it is still doable.
In just over 2 years, I've made nearly £4,000 passively for my house deposit, and here's how you can do it too. This is not financial advice, it has just worked for me. For context, I'm 24. One of my goals is to save for a house, and I am doing that through what is called or referred to as a LISA. I've put in about £13,000 roughly of my own money, and 4,000 of that has come from interest or government initiatives. It has to be less than £450,000 if you're living in London, and less than £350,000 if you are outside of London. For me, that's fine from an affordability perspective and keeping my payments as low as possible. I don't really want to touch that threshold anyway, so that's okay for me. House deposit is something that you want to work towards, then definitely consider doing it via the ISA route. Couple of disclaimers though, that money that gets put into my LISA, I have no intentions of touching until I do want to put that money towards my deposit. So if you are thinking about saving towards a house, but you might need that money in the short term, I don't suggest doing it, because you will have to take a 25% cut if you are taking your money out of your LISA. So these are things to weigh up. Although I am really happy with the growth of this account, my biggest regret is that I didn't open a stocks and shares lifetime ISA. I opened a cash lifetime ISA. Because I'm not really necessarily planning on buying in the next 3 to 5 years, and certainly 3 to 5 years from when I first opened the account, I probably should have invested that money into the stock market, because then the growth potential would have been higher. Obviously, it's a riskier investment, so the value of my assets could have gone down. But I think with the amount of time that I was going to have between opening the account and actually closing for buying the house, I think I could have afforded to do a stocks and shares lifetime ISA. So that might be something that I would consider if I would do it again. However, I am really, really happy with the fact that it's grown by about 4K. And I'm very, very happy with my decision to open a LISA.
Yeah. LISA is actually a really good investment if somebody's looking to save up for a house. If you are, definitely look into it, do your research. I think Money Supermarket have got pretty good breakdowns and stuff like that. And yeah, exactly what she said here. If you're doing it for the long term, if you know that it's going to be in the account for more than 5 years or so, stocks and shares LISA would also be a good idea rather than a cash one. But yeah, the key here is if you need that money, don't put it in there, because you're going to get cut by the government. So I had help to buy ISA, which is now scrapped, but I know the LISA was also overlapping at that point. But this is actually a really good government incentive that you should take advantage of, and it's helped out a lot of people.
I thought getting a deposit was going to be the most expensive part about buying a house. I now realise I was extremely naive, and decorating and furnishing a property costs a lot of money. We're first time buyers and we moved into our house in March, and we'd saved a little bit of extra money. We're talking like £2,000 or £3,000 to start buying furniture once we moved in. And I thought this would be more than enough to get all the basics. I was very wrong. Patience is definitely key when you become a homeowner, and you have to try and find enjoyment in the journey, because I really thought that our house was going to be looking pristine and beautiful and finished within the first year, and I've realised it's going to take us a lot longer to make this place our home. I thought buying a new build was going to mean no work, which is not quite true, and because we're on a budget, we have done most things ourselves, so we become DIY kings and queens. Definitely think DIY is the way to go. We've saved ourselves, I want to say, thousands of pounds by doing a lot of things on our own, but it definitely means you have to get comfortable with living in a place that isn't perfect for a long time. We've also tried to save money by buying furniture from outlet stores and using Facebook Marketplace to get secondhand bits, because who knew furniture was so bloody expensive? We're still living without a dining table, so we're just taking it room by room when it comes to buying those big items. We've definitely got a long way to go, but just over 6 months in now and it's starting to feel like home.
Yeah, I mean, while this isn't a success story, it's kind of a warning of, you've managed to finally buy a house and then you're like, well, we've got no money to furnish it with. We've got a couple of thousand that should do it. It doesn't do it. When we were renovating our house, we spent so much more than I thought we would. And to be honest, when we were renting, the sofas I bought were from Groupon. £600, I think, for a 3 set. I don't think you can get anything like that now. And to be honest, they're not the greatest sofas, but it did the job. And they're still in our house today, to be honest. We're looking at getting new sofas, but honestly, it was just like one of those things where it's like, sofas are so expensive for no reason. You can, just for like a big 3-seater, you can spend like over £1.5 grand or something like that. But it is kind of crazy what happens. But yeah, once you finally got over that hurdle of actually buying a house, then you need to start putting stuff inside it, and that is where it can get pretty expensive too. So I think The advice from these lot are great. Do it room by room and take your time. And honestly, DIY is the way to go, because hiring somebody out to do these small things when you can just buy some tools, invest a little bit in yourself, and learn how to do it again and again. Because with property or home ownership, there are always things that are going to happen to a house, and it is just better if you learn how to fix it yourself. It's difficult the first couple of times, but after that, you don't need anybody, and you save a lot of money too.
We managed to save £50,000 for our house deposit, and this is how we did it. My biggest piece of advice: sit down, figure out your finances, make sense of your own money. Right at the beginning, we sat down, I made a Google spreadsheet, I worked out how much we'd be able to save on a complete flat month with no overtime. You've got your wage, you've got your partner's wage, and you break down everything that you pay out, figure out what a comfortable amount is for you to put away into a savings pot. And then anything on top of that, you can see as a bonus. We point blank refused to ever take any money out of the house savings, whether it was £10, a fiver for my dinner, to pay off a holiday. We never did it because we just knew that if we did, it would become a habit. It builds up so much quicker than you think. We originally, right at the beginning, were thinking, oh gosh, like this is taking forever, it feels like we're not getting anywhere. It was so hard to not dip into that small amount of money. At the time that we decided to start saving, we had opened a lifetime ISA. Every £4,000 we will get £1,000 back within every tax year. £4,000 every tax year into both of our lifetime ISAs, which would then equate to having an extra £2,000 between us. If you do need to take that money out for whatever reason, you'll be fined for it. Please open a lifetime ISA, especially if there's two of you. And if you do, please do it early. Make sure you know you're not going to be taking that money out within the next 12 months. I cannot remember the creator's name, who is kicking herself because she put all of her money into a lifetime ISA, not realising that there was a 12-month period when she'd first opened the account and put money in it. You couldn't take that money out without being fined. That is how we managed to save.
There you go. Same thing. Lifetime ISA. But more importantly, I love what she said about sitting down, having a Google spreadsheet, making sure that they know exactly what's coming into their account, what's going out expense-wise, and planning to the T how much they can put aside for their house. It is so important to keep track. If you don't watch your money, if you don't watch the money coming in and going out, you'll just start spending it without realizing. Listen, the same is true for life. The same is true for weight gain. The same is true for this too. If you don't watch the scale, you will gain weight. If you don't watch your bank balance, it will depreciate when you're spending it on silly things without realizing. £20 here, £30 there, £50 there. It all adds up on Amazon. It all adds up when you go out shopping and you don't think much about it. So this is really important stuff. I would highly advise probably looking up some of the links with licenses, some of the information that happens. I'll find it, I'll put a link in the description, you can have a look at it for yourself. But that's going to be everything for me today, guys. Hope you enjoyed some of the success stories that we looked at today. A little bit of a motivator. It's tough out there, but it is doable. I did it, me and my wife. We scrimped and saved for 3+ years. We managed to buy a house. We managed to renovate it as well. So, you can do it. It's not impossible, although there are a lot of barriers. You just have to be very, very, specific. Put aside your savings and plan accordingly. Good luck. See you next time.